Him? Just
No, not him. The gatehouse.
Oh, the gatehouse.
Yeah, because I was just walking up and down taking pictures.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping to get a police car with the blue lights coming out.
Yeah.
I've got that now, but you felt the shot anyway.
Okay.
And the gentleman come out and committed a Section 5 public order offence.
Okay, what happened?
He said I'm not allowed to film.
Yeah.
And I explained to him I'm on a public road, so I can film.
Yeah.
And he called me an effing idiot, and it's all on film.
Right, okay. The gentleman in the...
Yeah, he had a security coat on with a big beard.
Right, okay. And you've got that on film?
I have, yeah.
Okay. What, are you wanting us to do anything about that? Were you planning on reporting it, or...?
I've just reported it to you, haven't I?
Right. At the moment, obviously, I'll deal with what you've just reported to me. Okay,
yep.
We'll take that into consideration. But we've had a report before anything of that has come through that there's been a male walking around with a balaclava on. Okay?
It's not a balaclava.
Okay, that's the report we've had. Okay,
right.
Because you are matching that description.
Yep.
I'm detaining you for a stop search under Section 1 of PACE. Okay.
Really?
Based on the fact that sort of equipment. Okay.
So what's your reasonable grounds?
My grounds are
that I'm wearing a balaclava, which isn't a balaclava.
Okay. You match the description. You are covered in your face, okay?
T starts as a simple moment. A man stands on a public road, calmly filming a gatehouse with no confrontation and no signs of any wrongdoing. A security guard suddenly approaches, becoming aggressive, claiming filming is not allowed and even insulting him. But the man stays composed, knowing he is within his legal rights. As police arrive, it seems routine at first, but the situation quickly shifts when instead of addressing the complaint, attention turns toward him after a report mentions a man wearing a balaclava, and he is said to match that description. Without any clear evidence or crime, he is detained for a stop and search under Section 1. As the camera keeps rolling, the tension builds, and the key question emerges: what a reasonable ground behind this action, turning a calm situation into a moment of authority and control.
Okay. That sort of equipment can be used for that. Okay.
Right, so what are you looking for then, particularly?
So any further equipment that could be used in the course of conducting an offence such as theft will go in effect, okay?
Alright.
So because
you do realise you'll get a civil claim over this?
Okay, that's fine, yeah. Right, because I'm quite a small female and you're quite big, I'm going to place you in handcuffs because you're an unknown risk to me, okay? So
right, does it have to be a male? You're not stopping recording?
No.
Handcuffs on by anybody.
Yeah.
What are you doing holding the handcuffs?
I'm just doing like that, holding handcuffs. I need an explanation.
Well, it does. Look at your nails, you nearly scratched me with them.
Use as a weapon, can't they?
Can they?
So
what, when I'm in handcuffs?
Yes.
I can assure you now I'm going to cooperate. I don't agree to the search and I don't consent to the search, I'll make that clear.
You don't have to consent to it,
okay? I've detained you in a section of case, you don't have to agree to it, it's a voluntary thing, okay? Right, will you want a copy of the stop search record?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Sorry, can you hold them for me while I just... Sorry.
Honestly, I'm not going to try and break out.
Yeah, but as
I'm not going to get far, am I?
They quickly move in and treat him like he has already done something wrong. But he stays calm and questions their reasoning. The officer claims it is because his face is covered, and he matches a description, even though there is no clear evidence. Section 1 is used not for any real action, but based on how he looks, which raises serious concerns, because a stop and search should require specific grounds, not assumptions, when he asks what they are looking for. The answers remain vague, mentioning theft. Without any real link to him, it begins to feel like the decision was made first, and the reason came later. Then it escalates further, as the officer decides to handcuff him, calling him an unknown risk, despite his calm behavior, turning the situation into a clear display of control rather than justified action.
That's the offence.
Right. What's your name, sorry, just so I can...
I don't give my name.
Okay. So I need it to complete the form, and also if you want to process your complaint about the public order thing, I'll need your details anyway.
Right. You can just call me FT.
FT, okay, I'm going to need more than that if you want me to deal with that complaint.
No.
Because I can't deal with that.
So you don't want to make a complaint about the Section 5 public order offence? Because you would need to give your details as a victim.
Alright, so if there's a murder and the person's dead, how do they make a complaint? Do they give their name? I don't think so.
That's quite a different situation.
Is it?
And we generally identify...
Right, we're getting on with this search. We've got better things to do than stand here talking around to you muppets.
Well, you didn't have much better things to do because you were standing here filming, weren't you?
You had the grounds to search, explain to you and everything.
Well, yeah, apparently they're looking for, what is it you're looking for? Crowbars?
That can be used in the
Wow.
Been detained in Section 1 of PACE, PC 3096. I'm policing from here, this police station here, Fly Police Station.
Congratulations.
So, been offered a copy of the search record?
I have been offered a copy of the search. You don't need my name for that though.
The reasoning keeps shifting and starts to fall apart as the officer suddenly suggests even his nails could be used as a weapon, while he calmly makes it clear he does not consent to the search, yet still cooperates. The justification moves again toward vague claims about theft without any specific incident or evidence, making it feel like a search based on guesswork rather than lost section. One is not meant for fishing for a reason afterward, but that is exactly how it appears here, as he requests a copy of the stop and search record. The situation drifts further from solid legal ground and into uncertainty. Then, despite his calm and compliant behavior, handcuffs are used with the explanation that he is an unknown risk due to size, which does not reflect a proper assessment, and instead looks like control taking over where clear justification is missing, even leading to the claim that simply being in public with a face covering is treated as an offense.
Shouldn't have been put on, really, should it?
When you're detained for a search, it's the officer's choice whether to put you in handcuffs, but we are legally allowed to do so.
We'll see. Just so you can witness the markings on my hand?
Yep.
I'll go towards the... Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4 police cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 police officers. We all constables. No detectives here, is there? No inspectors. Couldn't detect anything, could they? What I might do later, I might storm all these registrations in here as well. Alright. I'll probably just put them on the internet.
What are you going to do that for?
Because I like taking videos and putting them on the internet.
People's registrations of the vehicle.
It's not illegal though, is it?
You can film wherever you want.
Exactly.
The focus shifts again as officers begin asking for his name, but he calmly refuses, offering only a nickname, while they insist they need full details to process a complaint, even though earlier they showed little interest in addressing the original public order issue he raised. Instead of handling that moment, when it actually mattered, they now circle back to it in a confusing way, suggesting it cannot move forward without his identity. As the search continues, the explanation becomes unclear, with vague mentions of tools like crowbars that have no real connection to him, making the situation feel inconsistent and poorly grounded. What stands out most is how the one moment that could have justified actions ignored at the time, but later redirected toward him, shifting the focus entirely and raising serious questions about how the situation is being handled and whether any of it is being applied fairly or correctly.
Part of the gang. Do you know more people, the public, have died in police custody in the last 30 years than police officers have died on active duty in the last 100 years. Where's your badge for that? Silence. Feel proud today. Done a good job today. Go home and tell the children.
I advise you that your actions could be construed as hostile reconnaissance towards terrorism.
What? I just said you've done a good job today.
Police personal vehicles.
Hostile.
For the purpose of putting them on
terrorism.
For whatever reason that might
Oh,
be.
go on, keep digging that hole.
It's hostile reconnaissance for terrorism offences.
Hostile. If I was hostile reconnaissance, I wouldn't be overt, would I?
No,
I'd be
you don't understand
covert.
what hostile reconnaissance means. It's all right.
You're allowed to do reconnaissance. If I wanted to, I could map all this ground.
It could be construed as committing hostile reconnaissance for terrorism offences. I'm just making you aware.
Right, okay,
of that.
let me make you aware of this. If you think I'm a terrorist, you should leave me alone and contact the anti-terrorism squad. Because if you thought I was a terrorist, you wouldn't all come up to me like this, would you?
Reporting an issue does not make someone a suspect, and refusing to give personal details does not remove the right to speak up, yet the timing makes it clear that Section 5 only becomes important when the officers start feeling challenged and want control, shifting the focus away from the original incident and onto the person raising it, while the actual issue is left unresolved. As the situation continues, multiple officers surround him, and despite the numbers and his calm behavior, handcuffs are still used, reinforcing the sense of unnecessary force. He even points out their presence and continues filming, openly showing there is no threat. And when the search finally ends, nothing is found, confirming the lack of real grounds. When the cuffs come off, the marks on his wrists are clearly visible, suggesting the restraint went beyond what was needed, and raising serious questions about whether it was ever about safety
What I
or
said
simply a
was,
reaction
your
to
actions
him
could be
standing his
construed as hostile
ground.
reconnaissance
I've had
for
enough of you now, off you pop.
terrorism offences.
Not talking to you anymore, talk rubbish.
We can be here.
here just as much as you can be here.
Okay, I know you can. But I can tell you it's off your pop. Anybody filming?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're supposed to tell me at the first available opportunity. That's part of your policy. You don't even know your own policy. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Can you just inform him that if he swears at me again, I will press charges?
You're watching too much American TV, you don't press charges.
Alright, then I'll file a claim.
Do you want your coffee?
Yes, I do.
There you go. Right, he's having a word with him, okay? And we'll leave you to it. But
Should have left me to it in the first place.
no, we had grounds to stop and speak to you instead.
I don't think you did.
Okay, that's fine. Be mindful of what my colleagues just said to you, okay?
What, that I'm a terrorist? If you thought I was a terrorist, you should act on it now. Off your pot. Off your pot. Off your pot. See you later.
Alright, you stand here all day.
Alright, cool. Yeah, see? Knew you'd leave first.
I'll bid you.
Wait, are you going to the shop to buy some polish for your boots? Not seen a bit of polish in years then?
The moment that changes everything comes when the officer openly admits that filming is completely allowed instantly, exposing a clear contradiction. Because if it was legal at the end, then it was legal from the very beginning, which makes the stop the search and the handcuffs much harder to justify. What follows only deepens the issue as the situation escalates into talk of hostile reconnaissance and even terrorism, despite there being no evidence, no intent, and no real threat, just a man openly filming in public trying to frame normal recording as something linked to terrorism does not strengthen the case, it weakens it and makes the entire situation look like an attempt to justify actions after the fact rather than based on real grounds. In the end, what remains is not confusion, but a clear example of how quickly authority can overreach when someone's lawful actions are simply not liked. The auditor remains the only one grounded, pointing out a clear truth. If there was any real concern about terrorism, it should have been escalated to specialist units, because that is the proper procedure, and a clear line between a genuine threat and empty suspicion. The fact that nothing like that happens as everything instead terrorism is used loosely as a label, which only exposes how weak the reasoning was from the start. As the exchange continues, the officers begin to disengage, dismissing him and telling him to leave while avoiding the earlier claims and contradictions. What began as a serious accusation fades into deflection and frustration. In the end, the situation closes without action, without evidence, and without accountability, leaving behind a clear example of how quickly serious claims can be thrown around without the substance to support them. By the time the officers walk away, the outcome was already decided not by evidence, but by early assumptions from the very beginning. He was not treated as an ordinary citizen using a legal right, but as someone to be controlled, and the entire situation became a